So I've decided after, I think it's about a month, 6 weeks since I worked on this quilt, I'm going to pull it back out, lay it out and see what needs doing. I've got all of my pieces here in this lunchbox. But for anyone who hasn't watched the previous video on this quilt, this was a quilt that I bought off eBay. I'm sorry if you can hear my washing machine, I've just realised. Yes, I bought this quilt on eBay, dated 80s, 90s. I think that's classed as vintage or antique now, because it's over 30 years old. 40, almost 40 if it's the 80s. Anyway, so I'm going to get it laid out on the floor and assess what needs doing. I've decided to keep it in a large hexagon shape rather than a rectangle or a square, just because it's one of those designs where it radiates out and it is big enough to be functional, as a hexagon is quite big. And I think that would be a really nice fun quilt. So I'll bring you with me and we'll see how much is left. So I now remember that the last time I picked this up, I was working on straightening this edge. I've put that there because it must go there, I think. I'll have a look. So we've got straight edge there, all straight all along. This edge straight, and then I just need to work on there. That very flower there is like the apex of the hexagon, that side, so it goes like that and then comes across, I think. So what I think I'm going to have to do is check the box, see what I've got, what can I make to get it all matching type of thing. As you see here, to finish the edge I had to break the pattern, so that was a flower. I just haven't got enough of this grey to fill in everywhere, but I'll just do what I can. I think it's fine to use one that matches the next one. But do you see what I mean about it being absolutely huge? It is really big. So for any repairs, like I said, I've just been flagging them so I can come back to them. But I'm just going to duplicate stitch over the top. So if I can see that there is, oh okay, there's the tail, but I can't see that there's a knot in it. So all I'm going to do is restitch that. I need my thimbles. Now I think I posted one of my shorts videos about this, so I think the stitching in this quilt is different throughout. So here we've got stitching like this, we've got some very tight stitches, but then we've got stitches that are a little bit more looser and a little bit bigger. So when I come to an area that's like this, if I see it from the back, I'm just adding some reinforcing stitches, because in a few areas where I found the bigger stitches there was a bit loose. This one here, when I turn it on the other side, it's loose. So just while I'm here, I'm just going to add a few stitches here and there just to help secure these seams. But it turns out that this row that I'm working on actually needs a bit more. So I'm up to here and the blue is attached. All of these was already attached, but I'm going to add something like this here because that's an excess one. And these aren't the colours I was just putting them out to measure where I need to get to, and I'll try my best to maybe try and pattern match something, but I've only got 4 greys I think, and all the way around is alternate greys. I think this row I finalised here because as you can see I've put pinks, I've extended them a little bit, so but the majority of these was already here, so I'm not sure. This blue one I think should be further down. So perhaps something went wrong in the actual making of the pattern, I don't know. But I don't think you're going to notice so much if it's slightly out of colour. I don't think you can notice here that I've added extras in there and stuff. So, well, you can notice when I point it out, but overall it doesn't take away. So yeah, I need to play around with the layout and see what I've got, but this one's definitely going to go there, or a similar one, so I'll have to play around. So I've now finished all this side here. So this was the area that I had to sort of fudge together. So I am disappointed that I haven't got any greys to continue. I think I saved 3 to go on the other side, just so I could try and continue as best as I can. So I put these 3 here. I put 2 blues because I thought that went with that. This one was a complete hexagon flower that was unused, and then here this was a complete flower that I just unpicked here, so I could put it there, and that straightens all that side off, and it's now equal to the other side because it wasn't equal before and I didn't realise that. So I've just got the opposite side to do now, so I'll show you. Okay, so this section here that needs doing, I think that spans across 2 sides, doesn't it? So I think the apex will be about here again, so I'll have to see what I can do with what I've got left. With this one, I think I'm going to have to extend it quite a way out. So again, what I think has gone wrong is this piece that was already sewn on should be down one. It should be here, and then that would continue all of this all the way across. But I'm worried then if I take that off, I'm going to weaken every seam that comes off this. So it's difficult to know what to do. But I think the best bet is now just to try and match what I've already done on the other side. So I've put that was one of the ones that I put on, so I'll match the same. And then this is in the corner, so again I'll match the same, and I'll just try and fill in as best as I can. But there'll be quite a bit, a whole row there, and then here I think I'll have to do a good few rows. So here is my final piece to put into the quilt. I've been doing the best that I can to pattern match. I know that one doesn't go, but I think from a distance you won't notice. So I've got to get that in. I'll probably do that this evening and then I'll update you. But as I've been going along, I've just been checking all of the seams, making sure they're all okay, sort of can I see my finger through it, or you know, how much of a daylight can I see through the seams, because obviously some daylight is normal, but I've been just making sure any gaps are tightened up, add in some extra stitches. So I'll continue to do that, but especially when I come to remove the papers, I'll have a needle and thread with me so I can repair. So that's so exciting. So of course my favourite thing to do once a quilt top is complete, go shopping for the backing. So this was the hand quilting thread that I chose to do. I needed some adhesive for spray basting because I usually spray and pin baste together. Yes, there are some other things in my basket, but we won't discuss those just yet. So they had so many different waddings to choose from at the Bramble Patch, and I decided this time to go for a nice lightweight cotton. It's the first time I'll be working with 100% cotton of this range, so I'm really looking forward to it. And it's that type where it's punch needled all together so the quilting can be further apart. I just love looking at all their example quilts. This is the backing that I decided to go for, and this one is the binding. I bought a few hexagons with me so that I could check that they matched. It was very hard to match the colours because there's so many different colours, but I tried my best to pattern match. So I'm now just sitting down this evening to embark on the big task of removing all of these papers. So usually with my English paper piecing I remove the papers as I go, but with this one I didn't want to remove the papers until the end, just so that I could keep a little bit of structural integrity to the quilt, just because if some of the stitches are weak then it can just be more of an issue, can't it? So I'm just going to sit, remove all the threads. I've got a little basket here that I've made before, and yeah, I think I need to put on a good series or a good podcast or something, don't I? What have we got then? So we've got personalised stationery for £32.50. Must be a magazine or something. I am going to keep all of the papers that are from this quilt, but I don't think I'll count them. Maybe once it's all finished, but I don't wish to know at the moment how many papers are in here, because it would just seem like too much of a daunting task. I need to get someone round here, don't I? Get my sister round to help remove these papers. That's what I should have done, shouldn't I? Invited her round for dinner. I'll go in the kitchen and cook. I need to get my technique improved. Because these scissors, they're not the sharpest, that's why I'm happy to use them closed to help me get the stitches out. But also as I'm going, I'm going to check on the quality of the stitches that join everything. I'm not having the best of luck here. So it is now ironing time. I can't believe I've managed to remove all the papers. It actually took me 5 days to remove the papers. I thought it would take one. How wrong. So yeah, I'm hoping to get the quilt basted today. I'm going to tell myself I'm going to get it basted and then I'll have my lunch, and that will spur me on to get it basted, because this is like my least favourite part, and it's always nerve-wracking because I worry about what if there's any puckers on the back. So I'm going to give everything a good iron. When I'm ironing the back, I'm going to use this Mary Ellen's Best Press. I don't know why I haven't used this before. And if, like me, you also live under a rock, this stuff is brilliant. It's starch, but it doesn't leave that crispy feeling, and it's so good at removing the creases from the centre of the bolt. So yeah, it makes it much easier. And yes, before you mention it, this is the only iron that I have. I'm going to be here for another 5 days. So I am now finally starting the hand quilting on the quilt. Although I am sure that I am going to wash the quilt straight after, with the quilt being second hand, I've decided to try and mark it with a Hera marker if I can, rather than any type of erasable pen. If this doesn't work very well, I think I'll just use chalk. So far this is working okay, but it is daylight and on the evening I think it might be hard to see. So that's what I've been using so far. But I have got one of these pens where you can change the colour of the chalk, and I really like those, so that's what I might switch to, because that will just wash out, won't it? And the thread is one that I've never used before. So this is a Gutterman hand quilting thread. It does have a little bit of coating, because as you can see, yeah, you can see that it's like a little bit waxy. So I don't know if that's good or not. It seems to be working fine so far. It's quite a thin thread, and I got it in this colour and it is blending in really nice. So that's the backing of the quilt, and I'll show you my first line of quilting. So that's the first row of quilting that I've done, so I think that blends quite nicely. Now we'll put a picture on the screen of the quilting design that I'm going to go for, but essentially it's almost like pizza slices. I'm going to have from each of the 6 points a line coming in that meets at the centre hexagon, because there's one where it starts and then it all radiates around from that one. So 3 lines from each point will cross in there, and then each of those segments I'll then do triangular quilting lines in, almost like a slice of pizza. I don't think I'll do it every row of hexagons, because these are 1.5 inch hexagons, so that will mean that they're 1.5 inches apart, so that'll be quite tight quilting. So I might do every other, so they'll be 3 inches apart, which I think will be fine. But yeah, I'll keep you updated. I can't remember if I showed you when I was at the shop, but this is the fabric that I've chosen for the binding. It goes really nicely with the background, and it was just really hard to match the front of the quilt to the background in terms of colour, because there's so many colours in this quilt. I think it's quite a scrappy quilt, so I just went for a backing fabric that's sort of I felt matched the front fabrics in terms of like age. I know that's reproduction, and then this matches. I wanted the binding to be quite plain so that it didn't detract from the quilt. So I'm going to get cracking on with this. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will be sure to update you once the whole quilt is finished. But thank you so much for watching. Bye!